FilmFestival. Today we're here at University of Val Technology. We are sitting with the #1 citizen of this territory. Would like to welcome you and we'll ask you to, if you can greet us and introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zama. Also, let me, before I continue further, to extend my appreciations and my greetings to the honorable legendary that I see here, Dr. John Kani, and then saying thank you very much for being here. And I also appreciate the moment that I saw him. I was reminding him that I saw him closer to him in 1999, many years ago. And by that time I was far from him, but today we even shook hands, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to everyone, greetings to the viewers of vutcampustv and everyone that is in this room that will be listening to us. My name is Sipho, the Executive Mayor of Emfuleni Local Municipality, which predominantly we say it is the Val territory or the Val municipality. But because of our government names, it is now called Emfuleni. It's no longer Val. But when we want to speak about its legacy, history and heritage, we will always go back to this name, Val, because that name is iconic to a lot of the people here in this region.
His worship, tell us why an event like this one is important to Emfuleni and Val Triangle generally.
You know, Dr. Zama, thank you for this question. You know, yesterday, as we were preparing to come in here, and one of the people that made it a point, in fact, who insisted that, Mayor, you must be there, passionately requesting. Then I said, call her to come to my office. And then she came. And then we started engaging each other about this, you know. And one of the things that she said, which is one of the things that touched my heart, you know, the area where we are, it used to be an industrial hub in terms of steel manufacturing many years ago. But today, when you look at the unemployment rate in the Emfuleni, it is sitting at around 48%. So that on its own, it tells you that I'm leading the municipality that is almost destitute because there are no opportunities of work. Steel industry has collapsed and it's still continuing to shrink. But when Ausis Makaleng was bringing this to me, she said to me, you know, the film industry has a potential to can raise a lot of employment, specifically or in particularly to young people. Because remember that we as mayors, as municipal leadership, many a times when we speak, the primary objective of the municipality is service delivery. And when we speak of service delivery, we'll be speaking of roads that should be easily traveled, you know, amenities that are outside where we can get a lot of people, creation of employment. But it's very less where we speak to young people. So by bringing the Val Film Festival in here, in the Val or in Emfuleni, it says to us, watch out the space that we are uprooting the talent that we have within the young people of our territory. And also to encourage some of those. You know, at some point in my young life, when I was still growing up, at church, there was a role I once played. That was the only time I ever participated in a drama. I'm not sure whether after that I was not good enough or what. But it was in a story of Samson and Delilah, which I was the king that sentenced or condemned Samson to death, you know. And ever since it has never happened. But having, you know, televisions around us, you can see that what is it that it is doing by promoting young people. So the reason that I also then decided that I will come, it is because I see the potential that it will play in making sure that this area called Valley, this area called Mfuleni, it comes into a map. Mfuleni is known of many wrong reasons and many bad things. But we believe this is a chance to retell the story of our municipality, of our heritage, which is Valley.
More than 20 speakers will be talking to the community of Val about the importance of film tourism in this area. When we were engaging with the young people from here, and also with SIMS engaging with the filmmakers, one of the things which we have realized is that Val tourism as a tourism destination is not yet tapped into. So they feel like it is important to do a reality show which is called Explore Val and create some opportunities for work. And as a number one citizen of this territory, how do you feel about that? And what can you say also to young people and the community general, which is going to benefit from Explore Val reality show?
That question, Dr. Zama, it's a question that really, when answering it, not to answer it from the surface of thinking, but it must also resonate what is in my heart. Mm-hmm. And what I will be speaking, it is something that is within my heart to say that as someone that grew up in here in Val, and being exposed to some of the legends like Abubabu Nyembezi Kunembe, that we used to see when I was in church, many a times when I was at sports, we'll always, follow him and what. But as Val, we never had that opportunity. We are 70 kilometers away from Joburg, and Joburg in terms of, or Johannesburg, in terms of economy, in terms of economy, their economy is far surpassing our economy. But when you look at Joburg and many other cities around here in Gauteng, Ekurhuleni and so on, there's one thing that we must pride ourselves as the people of Val, which none of them have it. It is the resource that is called the Val River. Through that Val River, the economy here can boom and can be in a position in terms of tourism, I know that when I was still growing, there were a lot of things that used to happen here around Mfuleni. There was a thing called Val Wine Tasting Carnival, and also the boat, whereby there will be boat, which we will see at Valster, Val Vision, Val Weekly, we'll see in those papers. But those things are no longer happening right now. And if they are happening, but at a small scale. But this is an opportunity now. This is an opportunity to say that we as the people of Val, we are rising up. And therefore we want a lot of people to come in and invest in here. When you look at the Val River, within the banks of Val River, we have things like, Emerald Casino, which is very huge and big in the economy of Val. We have the Rivieras, and we have many other hotels and many other spaces that, in the banks of the Val River, but of which most of us are not tapping in. And then we believe that if we are in a position to have these movies, to have filmmakers coming in, and we believe that they can also attract a lot of international artists or international filmmakers that could come in, to say that we want to know, we want to understand the history here in the Val. But this river, what role is it playing? We are having a lot of challenges, or people that are saying that we want to invest next to the river. And one, it is the people in Belgium. In Belgium, there's a place which is next to the river. But when I'm told, I've never been there, but I was told about it. They said that the life in Belgium, next to that river, it's very amazing. So with us, it will be only maybe sometimes towards December, September, that's where things are hyping. But we must make it a year to end or month to month, week to week activity, whereby things are happening here in the Val or in the Mfuleni. Moreover, we are one of the municipalities that has 2 institutions of higher learning, which is VUT and Northwest University, surrounded by many other small private colleges or private institutions, and also we have some TVET in here. If we are in a position, because VUT on its own, it is in a position to attract a lot of young people, some who are coming far from here. But one of the things that we want them to do, after they have graduated in here, they must not just say, thank you VUT, we have our diplomas and degrees, we are now leaving to our areas. We want them, even they can find work somewhere, but they must always remember that they are the product of this municipality. They must come back to say, we want to engage on tourism in here, we want to book, we have a lot of facilities around in here, the BNPs, first class BNPs that we can find in here. So we wanted the economy of Val to boom, and this industry can play that major role.
Lastly, what can you say about Val Smart City to the VUT students and the youth in general?
The Smart River City. I was showing someone that what kind of a city are we thinking of? And one of the reason we are thinking of a smart river city, it is because of the resource that I mentioned, I spoke about, which is Val River, that is dividing Free State and Gauteng in here. And we are saying we needed to explore on this river. There are things that we can do around this river, and one of them, it is the city that we have never thought of. At some point I will take you through it. I will show you some of the presentation. In fact, I already sent it, and then I thought maybe at some point while we are still sitting here, we can look at it and say that really, is this the city that we are thinking of? Because that will be a game changer. When you go to many other areas, they will be speaking of their affluent areas. They will be speaking of the big city places, like, I don't want to promote them, let me rather promote us here. That what we will be building, there's an interchange just next to Bedworth Park that we are, right now it is in construction. And that interchange will be just passing over the river, so that people should be in a position to say we can access and see that river. The geography student, of which I was one of them, it was done that this is the longest river in South Africa. We used to know that, but I've never been part until when I was old enough. Then I attended Dixon Park. That's when I have a first feeling of being closer to that river. But we wanted the Val River City, the smart river city. In fact, remember, we are entering a 4th industrial revolution. That is why we are speaking of smart, the smart mobility. Everything around that city should be smart, whether it is electricity, water reticulation, roads in there, the shops around it. It must be a smart river city, so that most of our people can come and invest in this municipality. To say, if you want to go somewhere, we say, well, you can go at your own risk, but you'll never see what is in here. Because to us, Val River, it's like an ocean, so that we must embrace. So we must be in a position to appreciate that. And your question also extends to say, what would you say to young people in general, and also VUT students in particular? When VUT Campus TV was launched, I was there at Quest Northwest. In fact, it used to be Northwest, but now it belongs to VUT. Some of the learners who are part of it, they might recall what I said on that day, because I was part of the program. I said, the VUT in its history, It's an institution that was formed around 1959. So that will tell you that there are a lot of generations that came in. Some have done wonders. And the other day when I was here with the acting vice rector, speaking about the partnership that we must have, and he said to me, today the government will be speaking about asphalt for pothole patching or road construction. And he said, that start of asphalt and what, it was designed and concluded here in Valtechnicon by that time. So this is part of the history that we don't know, that I never even knew about it. Then I said, well, that means our relationship, working together, can also assist us on the research or the methodologies that we want to utilize as a municipality. So then I said to those young people that, one of the ardent writers, Amilcar Cabral, I think, if I will still recall well, he once said that every generation must, out of its relative obscurity, find their purpose, fulfill it, or betray it.
Yeah.
That's what I said to the young people who are part of this vutcampustv. I said, despite the fact that those who came before you have done wonders, they've put this institution in a map and it is known international, you also have your role to play. And this is what they brought in. And I said, by doing this, you didn't betray it, but we are fulfilling it. I then continue to say that one of the things that pains my heart, especially in young people that has the ability, that can still walk, that have hands, that have mouth to speak, ears to listen, eyes to see, meaning, a full body, that could do many things that disabled people can do. But we'll find them appearing in the national television. Some of them even, making mockery of the degrees and the institutions that they attended, wearing a gown and standing in front of the camera and say that I have degrees, I have 1, 2, and 3, but we are not working. And that is killing the spirit. With what we have learned, create something for yourself. Create something that we can be proud of as people. When we look at these young people, we must be in a position to say, I must be having a stress on how do I accommodate or how do I find funding for them. But not to say, how do I bring them into the municipality? Yes, at some point they will come, those who have talents, those who might have a chance, but they must be in a position to go out. And the youth that is also out of school, out of universities, who never had a chance to achieve many other things, don't despair in life. One thing that I normally don't want to share to people, which is the reality of my life. My mother passed on when I was 5 years old. But when you look at me, you will never say that he grew up without a mother.
Yeah.
You can never tell that. Because of what my grandfather once said. He said in isiZulu, intandane umuntu ongenazinyawo nezandla namehlo nezindlebe. And often it's someone without legs, arms, ears and eyes. That is a person you can call an orphan. And then when you look at me, I'm a resemble of what my grandfather told me, that despite whatever, despite work challenges, at some point I went into college to do a teacher's diploma. When I came back, was this young, energetic young man saying that we'll find work, we'll find work. I found myself working at the Department of Health, not on what I went to school for. By the time I was supposed to come for teaching, I said, no, I can no longer. I went to an NGO sector, formulated an NGO as a young person that was called Sisonke Youth Organization. When I reached 36, I had to leave that organization. The board members advised me otherwise, to say, no, we can amend the constitution. I said, no, you don't understand. When we formulated that organization, we said it's an organization for the youth, by the youth, and for the youth. So that's what I wanted to leave. but later, I'm now called the executive mayor.
Yes.
So when I say to young people, even you outside there, you can make it. Make use of the talent that we have. Get information. I will always appreciate Mandoza when he's saying the same. And I know there are a lot of young people out there who are still dreaming and crying that where are the opportunities? But at some point we can create opportunities for ourselves. And institutions such as this, hence I took it upon myself to push for partnerships with them, to say at some point I will request you to go out of the campus. Let's go to the communities. Let's go and find those young people that can bring, or where we can contribute positively into their lives. Some of them, they don't know the importance of education. But if we are only sitting here in the campus and talking to ourselves, it is not going to help. We want to see VUT Campus TV extending out of our community boundaries. Young people in Bupilo should watch it. Young people in Tsepo, where I stay, they should watch it and see what is it that other young people are doing, so that they can be, challenged and be encouraged to do better for themselves. So we are saying that all is not lost. There's still opportunities. Let's see what is it that we can do.
Entrepreneurship creates with what you have. Uzoyithola kanjani uhlele khonini. That was His Worship Executive Mayor, Councillor Sipho Radebe. That is it from us at VUT Campus. Watch us again later. Thank you.